Hello there, folks. Hey, today I got a quick, interesting video. Got a customer that's got a weather station, and this device puts out an ASCII string protocol based on the parameters that it's reading. So the unit that we're going to be talking to here is from a company called Response One. I think Young USA. It's this device right here, weather transmitter. It's the 9250 or 92500 we're using, and it's this guy. Ooh, man, it's a spendy little booger. But that's the guy we're going to be talking to here. And so this particular unit, if we were to look at the manual for it, this is the manual that comes from this product, and it's got a bunch of stuff in here, blah, 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 blah. 232.45 communications, what have you, but that's the product there. It talks about all the stuff and so forth. Anyway, down inside here in the manual, see if we can get to where the meat and potatoes are. Right here, it puts out a different string depending on what format. And by default, this product out of the box will transmit this ASCII protocol serial string with this format right here, where it's got A is the station address, the next parameter is the wind speed, the next is wind direction, temperature, and so forth, and down the list here. I don't believe the one they have has a tipping bucket, so I'm not doing anything with that. But anyway, so this is the ASCII string that's coming from that unit with this format here. And so what I've done here in Crimson is I have created a little program, and I'm using my communications. Let's start off with communications. Now, I can do this over 45 or 232, but I'm using it over Ethernet. It's the same exact settings. So I've got this port here set up. In this case, I'm doing over Ethernet, so I got to do it as active. If you're doing this over 232 or 45, you do the same thing. You'd hit the pick button here, and you would pick your raw serial port driver right here, and you configure it exactly the same baud rate and so forth. And in the on update field is where you will call your program. Now, in this case, I'm using this one here for this. So you can see right here, it says program 2. I'll show you that in a second. What I want you to notice here, team, first off, when you're in here or here, right here is a port number. It's very important based on the read command I'm going to show you here. So this one here would be port number 2. The one I'm using for my test is port number 6. And you can see here there's a program. So if I go down here to programs, and you'll see program 2. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. I first off have a just a string variable here equal to a port input command. So over here in the lower right hand corner in system, and in system, if you expand the functions tree, go down to comms port, and there's a function here called port input, this one right here. So if I right click on this, do show help info, should take me to that in the in the manual, and it describes how to use it and so forth, start character end, timeout, and so forth. Well, what I'm doing here in this example, let me get to my Crimson, I've got port 6, there's that port number 6. I don't have any start character, so I'm putting a 0. I'm putting a 0xa here at the end, which is the, what is that, the carriage return? Or a line feed at the end of that string. And I'm not doing any length restriction or timeout. It's just going to go till this ends. So this reads in. And then you see here, I'm using a find command. I'm taking that string, and I'm trying to find the spaces. If I go back to the manual, give me a second here. Not there. Let me go back to the manual right here. Why do I have this open? Hold on. Here, let me go to this manual right here. So if you look here, team, you can see that there's a space. These guys, a lot of strings will use a comma, like this one has a comma delimited. This one has a space in between the fields. So I'm trying to find the spaces here to figure out where these parameters are in this string. And then once I find those spaces, let me go back to Crimson here. Once I find the location of those spaces, then I can go in and I can use a left, mid, and left command here to decipher those string values. So here, you might wonder, what's this left and mid? Well, if I go over here, collapse that tree, and I think if I go down here to the strings tree, you can see there's some functions in here. So here's one called left. You might wonder, what is left? Well, if I show the help info on left, the left thing will return the number of counts from the string based on that spacing here. So in this case, they've got an example here, and they're using phone as the string, 3 characters. So I believe this will return PHO in this case. What I'm doing though in Crimson is I'm going from the first space, which is after the first thing coming in, which is the address. I'm going to find what the address is. And then from that point on, I take these positions and do some math to find the mid to get my characters. And these are the string characters here. So that puts them in a string format. And then the customer eventually wants to port this over to an Allen Bradley PLC or some other PLC as a number. So then down below here, I use these functions text to int and text to float to convert these string variables into numeric tags that you can then port over to a PLC or so forth. So those are the actual tag values in numeric format. So if I go over here to data tags, you can see I've got all these. I create them global so we can see them on the screen. And then I've got the string tags right in here. And then I've got from there the numeric tags. I should put some folders in here to break this up. I'll do that when I finish this. Anyway, and then on the display page, I have all that data listed right here. So if we want to see this live, and let me go back to communications. I did say this. That program is being run on updates. So when it sees traffic coming in on that port, it executes this program, which then parses my data and gets my data out for me. So if we want to go ahead and look at this live, I've got this running right now. And so here is that on the red line HMI, and there's the string, there's the raw string that's coming in from the device right here, and this is me parsing it. Here's the comma locations right here. Notice the -1, there's not a comma at 6, so that I went one extra, but that's all right. But you can see here's the values in a string format. Notice that I left these with the name str string. And then over here, I don't have the tag name, I'm just showing the value. These are the tags that are here. That's these tags that are in numeric format. So, and I'll show you that. Let me go back to Crimson right here. So these are just the strings. But if I double click on this one, for instance, give me a second here. You'll see that it's a string of S, and I'm just showing the data value. I didn't want to show the name, because if I show that in here like this, it won't fit. I'm using a 4-inch screen to simulate, so it won't fit. So I'm making this just the data value, but that's what all of those are on the right column right here. These are those tags in the numeric format. So that's just a quick example of how I'm parsing that data and getting it here into here, and it's running right away. Now I'm using, because I don't have that weather thing here to actually to work, what I did is I cheated a little bit, and I used an old modular controller to simulate this. So believe it or not, I'm using this to simulate, and this thing is what's putting together my ASCII string. I'm creating a bunch of random numbers because I want to see things changing. So this is what's sending out the data. It's acting as that weather device. And so I have, not only do I have that, let me open up the, here is the old modular controller GT model. So this is shown there, and if I move this guy down here, you can see this string is the same as here. These last characters you see right here, team, well, there's a star. If you look, there's a star right there. If I go back to the manual, give me a second. So see, there's like an asterisk right there. They even call it an asterisk. I got the asterisk there. And then you've got your checksum, which I'm not doing anything with, and carriage return. I think they put carriage return and line feed in here, but the carriage return is at the end of that string. So those are, how do I say this to you? When I'm looking here, those are unknown characters, so you don't really show it, but that's what that is there. So if I was to go into my simulator, let's see if I can put this right here. And I'm curious, team, if I change the sensor address to say number 5, for instance, you'll see right here, this changes to a 5, that changes to 5, and the rest of these are generate that number correctly. What's very interesting, what I really like about this demo, is that this field can be, worst case scenario, could be 5 digits. What do I mean by 5 digits? Well, if I go back to the manual once again, they're declaring right here the format. See, it's got 3 digits before the decimal point, 1 after, 3 and 1, and so forth. Well, because that can change, I'm just assuming that it's not always putting a 0, 1, 2 in here, .34. It could be just 1, 2. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I made this regardless of that spacing based on my formula here in the programs. I'm using just the spaces to keep that size correct. So I think this is going to work pretty good. And who's calling me? Hold on a second, team. Okay, so that is how that works, and it's a neat little demo. I'll put the program up here, right there. Again, and this thing runs on update, this particular code. So if you want to copy this database or something, please, I'll be glad to send it to you. You can use it with any, honestly, I think you can use this with any ASCII string that you're trying to read across. The settings, you might have changed this, but the concept is the same with almost everything I see that's feeding some kind of a string data, ASCII string across. So just thought I would show off that demo. I think it's pretty cool. I'm quite impressed with it. So anyway, thanks a lot, folks, and have yourself a great day. See you later.